I'm co-host James Ash.
And I'm co-host Phil Scaife.
Welcome to the Business Lockdown. Congratulations, 50 episodes, mate.
Oh yeah, cheers. Congratulations, cheers. Sir, well done.
Well done to you too.
We made it.
Here's to another 50 more. Crazy that we're 50 episodes in.
Yeah,
it only
absolutely.
seems like yesterday we were 25 episodes, and of course that was a much quicker growth from 0 to 25 because we were recording every day, whereas we've tested a load of different routes from 1 episode a week to 2 episodes, little resource add-ons into the group as well. So how have 26 to 50 episodes looked like to you, mate, over the last four?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is an opportunity to sort of like look back at them, and some of them seem absolutely ages ago, like a different time. But I think it was definitely the right decision to give each episode just a bit more breathing space, a bit more, so you can just go a bit deeper into certain topics, and even get the opportunity, as we'll recap on, to bring certain guests back for certain topics that we scratched the surface of, and it's like, oh yeah, we need to really explore that a bit further. So yeah, good times. How about you? What's your take on the last 25?
I think I'm not just speaking personally, but I think for both of us, I think these 25 episodes, I think we've developed as individuals and as a duo as well. We've had some quite interesting guests, which we're going to go through each of the 26 to 50 episodes. So you guys will all get insight into some of the maybe challenges that we've experienced and how we've improved as well. And there's clearly been some episodes where we felt on our A game, just being better at what we do and how we do it. And it's interesting, there's been a few where you and I are just fighting for questions because we just want to know so much stuff, and we're aware that these 30 to 45 minute episodes could very easily be 3 hours, which we're actually in planning on recording a 3+ hour episode in the very near future. So yeah, I think we've just all developed, not just as a duo, as individuals, but our team as well at Pink have really developed. And I think what's been good is just taking our foot off the gas a bit with the quantities and actually shaping those episodes in different ways and testing the micro content that we put out. So we've kind of spun things around with the team as well, which has been a really good opportunity to do so. And so now when we look at it, we are taking on clients as a result of this, which is phenomenal. We're having some incredible conversations with some global agencies who want us to do this for them. Yeah. So that's so exciting, which just proves when we did this for the right reasons, without selling in mind, just to connect with people. It's just a wonderful experience for it to come back our way now in a business sense. So that's just fantastic, and the team have developed so much, which we're so proud of course, and to see them flourish, and from early days of just having to work so hard, 1 and 4 AMers, to now when we've got our systems in place, we've tried and tested, and now we've got more creative headspace to flip things around, approach topics in a different way, give guests a certain platform we haven't done with anybody else before. And so we can provide 1 episode a day for ourselves, for clients, to 1 a week, to 1 a month, to bi-weekly, to different levels of smaller pieces of content. So yeah, I think it's safe to say we've come a long way from 0 to 50. That's for sure. Well, let's start with episode 26 was Tony and Martin from Move Ahead Media in Bangkok, who also got Move Ahead Media in the UK and also Australia as well. So how did you find that episode?
Well, I think it shouldn't be surprising, but it's always nice to see how generous the majority of guests are with their time, with their knowledge, with their expertise, giving into the group, all their resources. And just everyone helping each other, and just another great example. I mean, Tony and Martin, brilliant, really enjoyed the episode. And then after the episode, the continued sort of trying to share resources and help each other. And it was really good, because some people would see almost like a competitive overlap between two media companies, but it's the exact opposite. It's finding the complementary services and really learning from each other what's worked, what hasn't worked, and just and forming that partnership. And there's loads to come from that partnership as well. So yeah, great couple of guests to start the second season with.
The second season, well, I mean, what was great as well was we were working on setting up ads for our competition, and there was a minor question that we just wanted to bounce off those guys. It's like, what would they suggest? Because they'd run a competition. We've just been in the mix of our 6K comp marketing competition, and so I sent an email, and I think I inboxed both of them on Facebook, both of which came back. Martin just before Tony, and considering they're 6 hours ahead in Bangkok, and it was a Friday, so it was officially the weekend, and Martin gave 30 to 45 minutes of his time, sat in his garden, not only answering or bouncing back what we were asking, but just giving loads more value and insight, and having a really authentic conversation about where they're at as a business. And so, yeah, really good couple of guys. And of course, we did a resource, a Facebook ad set up with Mcquade from the business, and they've just been ever present in sharing our content. And so yeah, we certainly look forward to a healthy, positive working relationship with those guys moving forward. As you said, a very complementary setup.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from there we move on to the next episode was Ben Rainey, wasn't it?
Ben Rainey. So
I couldn't be with this episode, but my 10-year-old is an aspiring DJ, so he was pretty gutted that I wasn't sat chatting with Ben. How did you find Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I love Ben. Ben's for people who don't know Ben, and what is a shame when he posts things out, he's just buzzing. When he's a producer, DJ, he's a videographer, he's an entrepreneur, young buzzy entrepreneur, and when he puts content out buzzing that big record labels are backing his tunes, that he's started a podcast and his reach is so great. And it's such a shame, like, and I think with Brits as well, is we don't celebrate success as well as certainly the Americans do. And so it's a shame when you see his posts out and he has to put the caveat that I'm not boasting here, I'm just excited to share with you that. And it's like, boast, he's such a grafter. And it was nice to mention Cooper, that Cooper's into DJing, and of course he's just recently launched some DJ Academy schools, which I think you're going to hook him and Cooper up with, which is nice. But Ben, whenever I'm in Ben's presence, either digitally or in person, I can't help but be energized off it. And and him and I were like almost talking over each other, because we were so interested in what the subject was, or what the next thing we might progress onto. So a very energized episode, and yeah, he doesn't realize how much of an inspiration he is. I mean, he's taught 9-year-olds. He's working with Andy's Man Club. He's working wonders there. And what he does is he studies things, becomes an expert, and then gives the value to everybody else. So he runs just free courses and upskills people. And we touched on in that episode, and when I said, you become an expert, it was almost like, whoa, no. So he's very humble as well as Ben, which is, many looking at what he does and how he does it will just think, he just wants to be in the limelight and be this. We're gonna
have to just stop there. Sorry, mate.
Okay. It's either an Amazon delivery or it's his youngest waking up. His 2-year-old Clover, who's having an afternoon nap. Have we got him there? Yeah, for all of you guys that haven't seen much of what Ben does, you can find a chunk of his stuff on YouTube, on Facebook. I just recently watched a video where he was DJing on the Beverly Westwood, which is huge pasture land. And it's funny, it's the start of that is a clip where, I'm just saying, there's a clip of Ben DJing on the Beverly Westwood. And the starting clip is how it ends, and he has to stop the track because a cow was getting too close to him. An interest, and that's what finishes the recording. So he's got great content like that, and he's not shy of being vulnerable, of looking silly, of just putting himself out there. You know, it's not pure polished, and great individual.
Authenticity.
Authenticity, exactly. I said to the audience, it'll either be Amazon or Clover.
It was Amazon. But I'd left. My two loves. So I'd left the door open because my phone's broken at the moment, so I can't hear if delivery drivers or anyone's ringing me. And because we were doing this, I thought I'll leave the gate and the door open so they can just drop the parcel. He's wandering around the house. Thank you. And thanks for delivering the parcel, but you didn't need to unwrap it and set it up for me. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, we move on to episode 28 with Paul Spence, which was his second episode. And the reason why we covered a second episode is you just cannot fit. The first episode of his was all about the brain injury and the recovery side and getting real insight into that. And we got to about 1 hour and 15, and it was like, we need to do a second episode here because we need to explore the charity and the product, the brand that you've set up, which was episode 2, of course. And which then again, I think that was another hour and 15.
Yeah. And the thing is, isn't it, remembering the starting point for Paul, but then looking at and just trying to put into perspective what he's achieved with the charity on a not just a local platform, but on a national stage. Like what he's achieved with that is just absolutely incredible. But even more so from his such a negative starting place of how it all happened. Just I'm just very, very proud to be able to give Paul a platform just to give a bit more of his story, and just even just one more person hears the story and just understands it and supports in just the smallest way. It's a privilege to be able to do that, isn't it? So,
well, I think it's no surprise that our 14 members at Pink, we did a review of the 50 episodes, and I asked them a few questions. One being, which was the standout episode and why? And 2 out of the 4 was said Paul Spence, because of his journey and the clear challenges that he faced under very clear adversity. And so that's no surprise how impactful that was and what it meant to them as people and how they reflected not only on this process but, as you said, providing a platform. Michael Knott.
Yeah,
so we moved on to Michael Knott.
What was that? Michael was episode 29.
Michael was episode 29. So essentially a train driver. So we came out of that and said, and we really enjoyed recording that because Michael's a great guy. I met Michael on a holiday in Cuba. Great round of golf together, very drunken round of golf together, and I know he's just a great guy. And what we really enjoyed about his episode was essentially being on our A game to draw out loads of goodness from essentially who is a train driver. You know, he's a clear leader. He manages a lot of people, certainly, and under these challenging times. And what was interesting to hear was that they were running services for people in the NHS, essentially key workers.
Yeah, I think the great thing there is that, I mean, there was no obvious route, and so that was really good because it meant that you really listened and you really understood, and you really sort of went in the different directions and found so much value in organization, in systems, in leadership, all sorts of things. And it was by no means an obvious interview to do and an obvious route through the conversation, but such high value, which is, I think that's just something to take away. For anyone to take away that's going to do this sort of format, is that generally most people have got value there, and it's up to you to be open enough to listen and to just walk the walk with them.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. And because we could just think we're purely going to interview CEOs of major corporations.
Yeah,
and you're like, well, don't get me wrong, that could be absolutely brilliant. But you interview 50 high-level CEOs, I guarantee that that's going to bring different challenges. You know, some expectations might be with a really great company, and it might fall a bit flat because of them or because of one of us or both of us. You never know, really. And I think that's very true, that you kind of walk into these and just be open and honest and find a journey. I think what was nice with Michael was exploring that homework balance and how he's working from home when he never has, and how he's going to take that forward and change his work-home life balance in a different way than he did before. So that was really cool to drill down on with him.
Yeah.
We come to Katrina Atkinson, episode 30. This was the first one I couldn't make. So this was one that you interviewed Katrina on a one-to-one.
Yeah.
From Top Cat Travel and Top Cat Wellness.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant.
Amazing lady.
Brilliant, and just an avid learner, just self-educating, not wasting a moment of lockdown, just doing courses, getting certificates, really getting herself focused and ready for reopening in one of the most difficult industries that you can reopen in right now. And the great thing with it, when we connected and we chatted, and she shared so many resources, because there's a big overlap with myself, with my wife Keris having beauty salons, hair and beauty salons, and then we finished recording, and Keris came into the room, and they must have been chatting for over an hour, just again sharing resources and just building that network and building that unity. It's just brilliant, and I just think I know that one of the big things for Katrina was mentioning her age, about how she's starting later on and things like that. But I think it's just such an advantage for her, and she's so good. She's so good that it doesn't matter what age she is, she'll rise to the top. It was just an easy chat.
What was interesting there was, because I met Katrina through FEO, through For Entrepreneurs Only. I was one of the lead facilitators for a 7-week course, and Katrina was one of the attendees. And within 2 minutes of meeting her, I was just like, right, I like you. And I got up and did a talk, and I pointed her out straight away as an example of just this energy and beaming light in a room, and you just like, and you're drawn to that. And it's funny, when I invited her, I got in contact and I knew she was watching religiously, delving into every episode that we did, which wasn't a surprise because, you know, she loves this stuff and really took value from it. And so I knew she was a fan of the show. So when I said, right, we're going to have you on the show, we'll have you on an episode, she was like, what, little old me? Like, what would you talk to me about? And you're like, come on, Katrina, you've got to stop this. You've got to stop this. But what an absolute gem. And do you know what was really lovely? Since her episode, she's been, in regular contact and saying how she's opened up her network and brought them into the group as well. So she's been not only a fan, but a real advocate of the business lockdown and of ours. So yeah, amazing woman. I had the joys of going down to London for, I think it was two or 3 days with her for a Gary Gary Vaynerchuk event. And it was just a wonderful experience. So
I bet.
Firm friend there in Katrina. Yeah. And then we moved on to our first episode with Martin Johnson from Trans to Performance.
Yep.
I mean, top level stuff right there. Top level stuff.
Yeah, and bringing so many value points right through. It's one of them where, you know, you're just trying to keep up and making notes and pausing and just I need, and you know, when I speak to the team, I want to use that or this, or you know, as I'm looking for that. And I've got mine here, the print reports that we did.
Yeah, that was what we received. We started talking about them on that episode and received them as we ended to come into his next episode, didn't we?
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, generally the Martin Johnson episodes and all the various bits of value that have come along. Yeah, the first episode set up the second episode with the results, but I still refer back to that. and it's given me a much further, deeper understanding of triggers and shadow triggers and things. So yeah, very, very good. And I've also recommended that to a lot of people since then as well.
Awesome. It was episode 31 where he alluded to the fact that I'm a genius. Let's not forget that, because flattery will get our guests everywhere. We just need to make everybody aware.
What's that? Flattery will get you another 3 episodes. Is that?
Yeah. I think that's what nailed it, wasn't it? And we did our print reports and found out we were exactly the same, which is very unusual, very, very unusual. Even Martin was saying, and not only unusual, but to find that we complement and get along, but also have a very incredible understanding with each other as a business pair, as a business partnership, and friends as well, of course, which I think has probably more to do with that we're mates and that we have that understanding. And it's always that if one's more driven on an idea than another, we often the other flexes on it, because we're like, well, hey, if you're that passionate about it, let's run with it and see what happens, kind of thing. So that was really cool to find out. And he's just so knowledgeable, isn't he? And the way he talks, and he's great. And again, a real advocate of ours by sharing our content to his network, and which he was on our hit list to approach, and he got to us first, which was really nice. Yeah, he actually saw our content on LinkedIn and got in touch and wanted to be on the show. And I remember, because it was Wayne Audsley from James Financial that put Martin's name forward, and the fact that Martin got to us first was interesting. But then we moved on from episode 31 to episode 32, and it was Chris Reed. Chris, you were unable to make this episode. Chris from R-Door SEO, so search engine optimization specialist and specialist company. And what was really nice, which I'm sure is no surprise, is that Chris is based in Vietnam. So Asia is like our favorite part of the world, Southeast Asia. So it was just really great, because they'd just come out of lockdown for a week. I think it was just about a week they'd come out of lockdown. And so I really enjoyed talking and sharing how that looked. And I think it was when we covered the episode, it was the weekend of a national holiday. And of course, that was although they'd come out of lockdown, everybody was being very sensible and cautious. So although things were open, people were still just slowly testing the waters and and seeing how life was coming back to a new normal, which they were experiencing. But yeah, search engine optimization, it's been really good with Chris since his episode, that we've remained in contact and looked at how they work on SEO, and how him being a guest on episodes, different people's podcasts, really work with their SEO as well. So we've learned a lot from that, and actually since received questions about SEO and podcasting, and I've just directed people to his website to say,
brilliant.
Just see how these guys write it up for keywords for their website. Yeah. So it's like, right. So yeah, that's been really good to direct a number of people to Chris's way. And then we moved on to episode 33, and it was the first episode for Jonathan Leaf.
Yeah. I mean, it's strange to think that, I mean, however many weeks ago that was, it's not a lot of weeks. Prior to that, I didn't know Jonathan or Martin, and now, we've spoken to them that much, and they've shared that much value. And Jonathan, obviously, very similar, like multiple episodes, multiple different blogs that is written, and we've discussed further and deeper, and then the support that they've given back as well. It just feels like we've known them a lot longer, just because there's such a warm connection there. In order to just help people. But yeah, great. It was a great chat with Jonathan, and it set up all the sub episodes afterwards, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know Jonathan from For Entrepreneurs Only, FEO, and I was introduced to Jonathan Lee through Jonathan Elvidge, who we've had through Moodbeam on one of our earlier episodes. And I remember Jonathan taking the time out, Jonathan running, essentially one of the largest marketing agencies in the north of England. And he took time out to sit with me for an hour, because Jonathan Elvidge asked him to. And I remember that was years ago, and you don't forget stuff like that. You just don't. and then working next to him alongside Jonathan Leaf through FEO. And so it was great to reconnect with him, and he's so invested in what we're doing and how we do it. It's incredible, really. And it's guys like this that have such a high price tag on their time when they do charge into companies, and it's amazing to think that, because they also do a shitload of free work as well, just because they want to give back.
Yeah.
And which says a lot about them as an individual. And we've just got so much through since, and we've got plans in place moving forward in terms of coaching with Jonathan and creating like ebooks and digital courses.
Yeah, like a mini series.
Oh, amazing. So, I mean, his first session was that, just getting to know him and his business background, which led to a 3-part series, which was business resilience, building a bulletproof business, then retreating to the core, ready to go again, then going for high growth after the lockdown. So really high value stuff that Jonathan, again, just dedicated his time to be with us and provide value to our audience, which is what this is all about. So, and
I think it was in that first episode when Jonathan used the phrase, as a business owner, are you a hunter or a farmer? And it's like, that's stuck with me.
And the thing with Jonathan is that he's the episode that stood out for me personally, that just raised our game. Because I mean, we spoke about that he interviewed Lord Sugar years ago, Alan Sugar, and he's interviewed a number of different people. So he's coming from a point where he's not only comfortable on camera, but he's shit hot on camera. And what we did with Jonathan was we had this central body of work, with blogs that he's written, with stages and a process of topics to run through. Because normally, yes, we will have an approach with our guests, but with Jonathan, we worked through this and we came away from it, but always coming back to that and following it through. And by all of us having an understanding of what that looked like, we were all able to naturally bring that episode back. So we worked through that subject matter. So I just thought that was really great to have that way of working, which we hadn't in the same way with a guest before. And then we moved on to episode 39, which was Leon Mcquade. So Leon has a business called Think Cloud, and he's also a key member of Andy's Man Club. And we titled that episode "Suicide." And which is a pretty, it's a pretty striking title, and rightly so, because Andy's Man Club is about bringing men together to talk about their feelings in order to, prevent the high numbers that are out there in terms of men taking their own lives, which is, and what did he mention that in East Yorkshire, it was about 40% higher than the national average?
Yeah, that's right. It's amazing as well that the Andy's Man Club, I hadn't heard of it. And then it's amazing when I talk to people about like some of the episodes and that episode in particular, and say, they've heard of it and they've supported it, or they know people that have been through the doors and things. So it's a very it's a very needed thing, especially in this area with the higher percentages. And obviously he's got the shirt, hasn't he? The reminder of the Vegas.
Was it a shirt or was it a boxing glove?
Oh, he's probably boxing gloves.
Was it
just off camera?
Was it Mayweather's? Was it Mayweather's?
Yeah, it was it was the splurge times, wasn't it?
That he paid a silly amount for, and he loved that as a reminder, because he wasn't happy within himself or what he was doing, and he basically gave his shares of the company up that was making a good amount of money, because essentially he realised he wanted to take his kid to school, and that was what was important. Yeah. And once he had that realisation, he was like, I'm done, I'm giving it up. And he has that on his wall to remind him of that time. It was amazing. If we had Leon on once a week, twice a week, if we had Leon on every day, we'd never run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
It's like, and he's so animated and so energised and he's so real and authentic. I thought an absolute incredible guest. And when when I mentioned that he was coming on the show to people I knew, they were like, "Oh, he's good as Leon. Oh, he's a good lad as Leon." And then afterwards, it was like, "Oh, I love that episode." There was a lot of positive feedback on Leon's episode, and
doing such good things.
Amazing guy. Took a lot from Leon.
Yeah.
And then we had Jonathan. Episode 40 was Jonathan Leaf again, and we've run through what he covered there. To move on to episode 41, Mr. Vernon Frost, who joined from South Africa.
Yeah.
You weren't able to make that one, which was, if there was any of them that I was like, was so eager for you to join in with, was this one, because we also arranged it. So Vernon committed, and he was going to give us a 20-minute relaxation session, which initially we were going to bring into the episode, but we decided to record the episode and then do that as a separate session and bring our team into it, and which we did. And we'll just jump into that session. Our team then jumped on board, and it was amazing. I mean, everybody was just like, Vernon is world class at what he does. Yeah. He's spiritual. He's a clairvoyant. He's a coach. He guides people through meditation. A phenomenal guy. And it was nice to have Di Williams as well, which is Vernon's right-hand lady, right-hand gal. And so it was nice to have Di on the episode as well, giving the insight on what happens behind the scenes with the business as well, and how they've adapted digitally. And when we covered the what was a relaxation session with the team, I quickly realised he was on his A game, and he was invested into us. Yeah. And it wasn't just relaxation. He took the team into quite a deep meditation session, and the team were blown away, absolutely blown away with that. Ridiculous. If our audience haven't seen that episode, I'd really encourage you to do so, and also our session, because on the back
of that, obviously. Missed the recording of the interview. Was able to watch that, and then missed the session, the team session. So I think I more than made up for it by having an hour's one-to-one with Vernon, purely because of the back of what he'd done on that day. And to say that he's at the top of his game, and that he's world class at what he does, and just helping people with alignment and focus and energy. And it's just amazing person to be able to connect with at times when you need that sort of support or help. So really good to have someone, a really good person to have in our network, I think.
Absolutely. And Vernon, they run retreats. 3 weeks they'll be in South Africa doing online, and then 3 weeks they're holding a retreat around the world with anywhere from 30 to 100 plus people. It's phenomenal, absolutely amazing. And I've been online. They hold free meditation sessions on a Thursday night, so get stuck into that. I'd fully advise. And he has over 400 people around the world join in on those sessions. So he's absolutely world class. So great to have him on the show. And then episode 42 was Jonathan Leaf again.
Jonathan stealing the show.
Jonathan Leaf. Oh, Jonathan Leaf. It's almost becoming a Jonathan Leaf podcast, isn't it? Rather than, it's all about the guest. It's all about the guest, Phil. Remember that?
Yeah.
No, but amazing. And that's to say that Jonathan will be joining us, and we'll be continue working with him. Is an understatement. Absolute brilliant guy. And then episode 43, Jamie Catto. Phil, what did you make of Jamie Catto?
I think it's fair to say that not everyone is going to connect with everyone else. You see like interviews on TV and things where the interviewer and the guest are not 100% aligned. And I don't think it's anyone's fault or anything, but I certainly felt like we were in one of those episodes with that one. I didn't think that there was a pure, true connection there, like there was with 99% of all the other guests. And I remember us having a conversation about how, if we were going to do some editing, and if we were going to like cut some bits out or whatever. And we agreed that it's part of the journey. And it was actually, I think when you go down to the the actual nuts and bolts of putting together an interview-based show, it's a great learning point for us and for other people, because I think you can see it. I think you can sort of feel it come across. But weirdly an enjoyable show.
Yeah, I think the feedback. I think that what's interesting is the micro content from Jamie's episode was really good, really great, really powerful, really strong. Just the episode didn't flow, and that was fed. Also, it was felt by us, and it was fed back from people in our network as well. That they just felt that it was a bit of a tough episode. Now, you know, you never know what someone's going through, so you don't know what kind of day they've had, or you know, so there can always be a lot at play here. And you know, Jamie Cato, one of the founders of the band Faithless, he's a movie producer. He does business and personal coaching and growth and retreats. So on paper, you think, this is going to be amazing. And actually, it was surprising how we just felt it didn't flow. And as I said, you never know why, but you can only grow from that. It's, you know, we both know, there's more growth from situations and scenarios that are maybe more trickier and more challenging than the ones that go according to plan. And, you know, there's every chance that if we were to interview Jamie on another day, it could go amazingly, you know, it could flow and stuff. And that's just the thing, is that this is when I alluded to the fact that if we were to approach 50 of the, you know, really big corporations and CEOs and think they're all going to be amazing, the chances are, you know, that there's going to be a chunk that will bring different challenges. It might be just wrong day, wrong time. But yeah, I mean, I think we grew a lot from that episode. Yeah. And as I said, I think some of the micro content from that was, well, all of the micro content that we put out there was really strong. Was really, really great. So, and then, so we move on to episode 44, Alex Hall.
I mean, what a change. When you talk about flow and the sort of like ease of conversations and things, yeah, Alex, just his creativity, his marketing brain, his business brain, and how he delivers that in such a simple, summarized way that's so accessible, because it's very easy, and a lot of people do it, don't they? They talk about a topic but go all around the houses, and you don't actually get to the point. Whereas Alex has just got so much value, and he gets to the point. Just great, just really great.
Well, so when we before we record our episodes, we always approach people and then set up a pre-Zoom recording. So I'll normally do like a 10-minute call with someone. You know, Alex not only holds the record for all of our guests in terms of length of that pre-call, he probably holds the record for the longest 10-minute chat I've ever had, which was about 14 minutes shy of 2 hours. Yeah. And I've had some long chats. Don't get me wrong, I maybe had longer ones, but intentionally, when you knew there was a lot to go out. And that 10-minute call that lasted 3 hours was about the first of 3 or 4 in that week that I had with him. It just went on. I mean, I think I went on like a power walk / run for in excess of 10 kilometers, talking to him, talking about all sorts. And it's no surprise that our feeling with Alex on the episode was absolutely felt with our team at Pink. You know, they were just like, I was getting WhatsApp messages on our company's WhatsApp group. It's like, oh, I'm 10 minutes into Alex Hall, and it's great. What a great episode. So, and I just think he's just a phenomenal guy. You can't help but just laugh. You've got as much laughter as you have about like curiosity and interest on what he's talking about, and high level stuff as well.
Oh, you know? yeah, absolutely. But also, you know, the amount that over the past few months is just given back to the boxing club and to charity and things, and now obviously we're involved in the 100K club, you know, and that's And it's a really nice community of accountability to get you off the couch and moving for 100 kilometers during the month. And I know that, I mean, I will do 100K this month, but I know it'll go down to the wire. But I also know I'd have done 0 if it wasn't for Alex, and the network is created. So
that's the thing. I've got him to thank. So the 100K Club, is this where people are brought together, and as you said, to cover 100 kilometers, whether that's walking, running, swimming, cycling, or a mix of all of that. And straight off, we hit the ground running. So much so, I was like, "There's no way I'm only doing 100. I'm going to hit 150." And I think with that mentality was the onset of shin splints. Yeah. So I was like a week ago, I had to stop and I see a physio, and he's working on my legs, and I'm like going through the roof. And I think I hit 115 kilometers in 2 weeks. It's probably, I think that says it all, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. From a standing start.
From a standing start, so which is, I guess, it's all or nothing, isn't it? That's the thing. But he's got a lot to offer, and actually, we're helping him develop his personal brand, his personal podcast, Pandemonium, which is going to be really exciting. So we've been working on that now, and again, that's something he's had in mind for a while, and had a go at starting it, but too critical on how it comes across, and so that's been really exciting, discussing and exploring that brand, and for us to provide support and value his way, which is going to be amazing.
Yeah,
certainly with us knowing we know. I think the biggest challenge is going to be just like, you've got 30 minutes, Alex, because again, he can talk for 3 hours. Like, you got to try and condense that, and he's asked us to be guest host on his show as well, which is really cool. So we could probably talk for 3 hours about him now when he's not here.
That's the power of Alex Hall.
The power of Alex Hall. I mean, we finished his episode, and he was just like, "God, I didn't even tell you about this. Didn't talk about that. We could have gone into this." And it's just that there's a lot there. Then episode 45 was Martin Johnson again.
Yep.
And again, he's giving insight. He invited us into his studio setup to be working on some content as well, which was nice. It's always nice to be asked in the other direction.
He's just moved offices and invited us down to have a look around, do some recording there, which should be good when we can. So
yes,
yeah, absolutely.
Indeed.
And then Miriam and Ian, what great people, and I pretty much finished that episode and that chat wanting to stop doing all this and go to Amsterdam and just learn about Amsterdam and be around them and just enjoy the city. And just really, I was just sort of like, what an amazing picture they painted of just how education, their version of education in Amsterdam just works. It's just inspiring.
Yeah, they work with the University of Amsterdam, and they run summer schools. So, whereas normally they'd have, I think it's in excess of 600 students. Is that about right? And they've got 0, of course, because of what's happened. And so, they've pivoted. They've been putting out podcasts. Mokum, is that right? Mokum. I think it was called Mokum, which is what the old term for Amsterdam is, I'm sure. So they've been putting out podcasts.
Mokum podcast, yeah.
Yeah, Mokum. And I've listened to a few of those. And what's really, clear. I met Miriam and Ian in Tagazout in Morocco when they were out, their team working remotely for a week. So that was really great. And then Miriam went back to celebrate an important birthday of hers with friends and family, and got to spend more time with Miriam and her daughter there, and that was really lovely. And what was great was this, like, Miriam takes her team, so in the educational world, and just ups her team and takes them to Morocco to work remotely and digitally, which is like, you never hear that of happening. And what was really nice to explore the benefits of that when they're away, because they're not in their home environments, and actually they're more productive. And sometimes they find themselves working from 8 a.m. until midnight at night because they're in the stride and getting so much covered. And of course, it's just great talking about Amsterdam, because Ian's originally from Canada. and then obviously went to Amsterdam University, then fell in love, got a job opportunity with Moom and the team, and the rest is history, really. And of course, well, I think you said there that after the episode, you just wanted to get up and go over to Amsterdam. I think that can apply at any time in life, really. It's like, yeah, I could get up right now and go to Amsterdam. I mean, I think it's my most visited city in the world. I've been 46 times, made a promise to myself when I was 18. It was the first time I went. I just thought it was just cool. I mean, it's, in East Yorkshire, we're a cheap ferry ride away or a 45-minute flight. So it's so accessible. Yeah. And to be in this like cultural hub, and it's amazing in winter when it's crisp and cold, or in summer when the sun is shining and everybody's out, and you've just got this mix of world cultures. I just love the city, and so it was great to just talk about the city, and they essentially get to host all of these students during the summer under normal circumstances for many people's first time in that city. Yeah, I mean, that to be a spectator, not only a spectator, a facilitator of that. It's just like that's your job. That is what you do as a profession. That must be so amazing. So yeah, and certainly in intellect, you know, that's the key. Well, I've listened to Mokum, and I mean, Ian said that himself. He's been kind of learning as he goes. You know, he bought a microphone and learned the software, and really great to listen to that podcast because it's very different. It's a very different style to how we approach things, which is equally as I just think amazing. You know, you can only benefit from delving into different people's content and how they approach it, and how their guests come on and speak about certain subjects as well. Yeah, great speaking with those guys. Yes, and we have committed to an Amsterdam trip. We have. We have committed to an Amsterdam trip at some point.
That was a hard promise to make, wasn't it? So then we moved on to Ricardo, who was obviously, you guys got to go back in business ventures together and things. And so it was really interesting for me to get an insight into that and to get an understanding, and to understand how his business journey has evolved. And I love the model of buying clothes by weight instead of by individual label or price tag. I mean, that's very very relevant now and moving forwards with sustainability and things. And yeah, I think that was another episode where we recorded it, and then when we switched off the recording, we continued for another hour or so, you know, exploring different opportunities and different things where we could just share some of the things that we're doing that Ricardo could maybe do and implement in different directions and things, just to try and help when he's in a sector which has been so damaged recently, to be able to sort of like come back with a bang and really use it as a platform. It was really good to be able to do that and to be able to just share some of the things that we've experienced recently. Obviously, how was it for you to sort of like recap and recheck in with Ricardo after however many years of ago when you were in business together?
Yeah, really good actually, because there's so much that you forget when you look back. You know, we spoke about running a football team together and going on business trips, and which were crazy. To actual retail businesses, wholesale, creating our own brands. A lot. I mean, essentially that was my introduction to business. You know, 3.5 years of giving up a career, of just going, you know, looking at an opportunity and going for it, because I would always regret not doing so. I would rather have failed having tried it than not taking up the opportunity and always wondered what if. And I think that's always the decision. Whenever I'm in business or life, I always look at that. I always picture myself on a rocking chair with a big grey beard when I'm older and looking back. And whenever I'm kind of wondering, right, shall I do this or shan't I put myself in that position and visualize it and think, right, if I look back on this, what would I think? And then the decision's made. And that was certainly one of those kind of times of, I'm just going to go for it, not having a clue. And Ricardo was pivotal in terms of my development and support as a mate, as a business partner, and that was it was an interesting ride, that journey, for sure. It was my learning in business, for sure. It was I class that as my kind of university degree. Yeah. And that's, I guess, essentially 3.5 years of just giving everything, a lot of 6 to 7 days a week, 16-hour days. And a lot of people out there say you need to work 60 or 100-hour weeks successful in business, and some people say that's rubbish. I mean, my point in that is that when you don't know jack shit in business, but you've got commitment and time and able to give blood, sweat and tears, then give that when you're able to, in order to learn, because then the more you're in business, the more you're able to make decisions on when not to say yes, when you essentially you do that very early on. And it was great with Ricardo. We spoke about, remember that huge order, the €60,000 order that he had from Europe, and he had to kind of like borrow on credit cards, and he had some credit with them, and then he had to sell it in order to pay that off. Yeah, that was a great story.
And the etiquette of leaving his wife in the car, and then that wasn't the etiquette. That wasn't the correct etiquette at that situation. Yeah, just great.
Really good. It'd be interesting to see what happens, because they're just opening up their retail store now, which is Poor Boy Boutique. He's now back in the warehouse, which is the vintage wholesale company. Worth the wait, so that's going to be interesting how events around the UK are held with that brand. And then the gym, Temple Gym, as well. Absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to watch how those businesses come together. And it'll be great to have him on the show again in the next month or two, and really learn how they've got back into business. And I'm in no doubt, I'm sure, with various levels of success, but still successful it will be. And then we moved on to Hayley. Just
stop there. You're just going to need to just edit this chunk out so we can get on to Hayley, because Clover's just running. She's just got a few minutes left on her sleep.
Right.
So we've got up to Hayley, and then we can start again on Hayley Molly Dean. So just...
Okay.
Is that all right?
So that's our first edit in 50 episodes. Understandably so. It was your two-year-old Clover who's just awoken. There's one thing with your Amazon guy walking around the house naked. But
how did you know he was naked?
I sensed it. Phil. I sensed it. I think that was down to what he was delivering, right?
Yeah, but you can't have a two-year-old doing the same. So yeah.
No. So we moved on to Hayley Sylvester on episode 48. Now it's really cool because Hayley, one of my closest mates at school, in episode 48, Ricardo, one of my closest mates post school. So it was really nice having those guys back to back with episode 47 and 48. Hayley was new business director at Quickline, so mobile broadband, mobile Wi-Fi, mobile internet service provider, and that was really good. I think we were on the business route, and then her young kids who were at home were shouting, and then which we laughed at, and then that took us straight onto parenting and that kind of work home schooling life balance, which you guys certainly connected on.
Oh yeah, and it's something that that I could go just so much deeper into and for quite a long time, because it's a very unique set of circumstances that have happened to us all, and I think I said it on that episode as well, it's particularly difficult for the working mum with kids, because there is a real guilt trip there. You're guilty that you're not. I mean, I feel it as a dad, but I think it's even worse. That you feel guilty that for the business that you're not working on the business because you're with the kids, and then you feel guilty for the kids because you're on the business, and you end up in this middle bit where you just feel like you're failing, and I think that resonates with a lot of people, like not just up and down the country but around the world right now, as we try and work from home with no preparation, and we try and homeschool with no preparation, and even 3 or 4 months down the line, still feels just as messy as it did on day one. Just You know, it's just become a messy norm instead of a messy surprise. But yeah, it was great. It was great to chat about that with Hayley and to discuss that. And also, she called you flighty with good hair at school, which
there we go. I'll take that. And didn't conform.
Didn't conform.
I like that. Didn't conform, which I think Hayley can certainly resonate with as well. I think that's probably why we got on so well. That we didn't feel the need to be part of the group. But what was really nice about Hayley's episode is you talked about that, you know, parenting, schooling at home mixed with business. We got an understanding of Quickline as a business, and then you guys went down the techie route as well.
Went super techie. Yeah, there was only
techie, and
there weren't many people that kept going with those numbers, I don't think.
And it's funny, Hayley has been really hypercritical on our episode. I think I got a voicemail that night going, it wasn't very good, was it? Just tell me, be honest with me. I was like, I would tell you. I don't have any problem telling you if you were crap, but it was a great episode. And since I think she's watched it back, I got a message this morning, it wasn't that good, was it? It was crap. I was just like, apart from the lighting could have been better because it was really dark, but I think it was a great episode, and we covered a lot of stuff there. So that was great. And then we moved on to episode 49, which is Molly Thompson. Now, I recorded that episode one-to-one with Molly. You weren't unable to join that one. And Molly's a YouTuber, an influencer, a vlogger, an entertainer. You know, her YouTube videos on average are viewed 20 to 30,000 times, with her top performing one, which has like 600,000 views. Molly is sponsored, paid. This is her full-time job. So it was really great to interview Molly, you know, a young woman who's got a really good story about how she found herself getting into this world of influencing and entertaining and vlogging. So that it was just a great story and journey, and also her outlook on moving forward as well. Is what was really good is that, of course, when she hit 1,000 subscribers, and then it was like, right, she wants to hit 2, and then it was 5, and then it was 10,000, and now she has. Then the big one was 100,000, and you know, she currently sits with 125,000 subscribers. What was really healthy to hear was that she's not looking for the next lot now. She's come away, and she's just focusing on other areas now. That she's like, come away from that, and I thought that's really healthy, because she talked about it can be a never ending. You can never be good enough. Yeah, and you always it's just unattainable, unachievable. And so that's really cool. I mean, I spoke to Molly about potentially doing a bit of a resource session where she gives insight or behind the scenes and shows how she edits and films. So people keep an eye out for that. So really lovely to speak with Molly. And it was, although she does all of this content, it was only kind of a third time of being a guest on a podcast. So yeah, I really enjoyed chatting with Molly, and we'll definitely, it just had a really nice flow to her episode, and we'll definitely be connecting with her in the near future for sure. And then we came to episode 50, the milestone, the landmark which we're celebrating, Dean Booty. So we all went to the same school together. I won't say in what order, Phil, just because I did have a hard paper on, and some people might think I'm the oldest instead of you.
I've always been a leader.
I've always been a leader.
Always first one in.
But what a guy! I mean, he is just full of enthusiasm and inspiration, and he doesn't mind messing up, or potentially coming across as someone might seem being an idiot. Is that he actually embraces that, which is, of course, you know, well, we look like idiots on a regular basis. I mean, look.
I remember Dean. He was on his way to speak at a world conference in Vegas, and he lined up a coach to help him, you know, express himself correctly on stage and to deliver his thing. The first thing the coach said was, right, okay, so you need to establish authority within the first few minutes. So that's how you dress. And he started talking about how you dress, and Dean's like, no, I wear a hoodie. That's all I ever wear. And this guy's like, no, because you're in this room and you got to do that. And I think that was pretty much the end of any coaching. It was like, I can't do it. I can't be fake. I have to just be me. And some people will like it, some people won't like it, and it has to be that way, because I don't want them to bump into me in the street and I'm different and I'm not what they expect because I'm edited, I'm polished, and I'm never going to be wearing the suit. So I don't want to do it now. I want to be the same person, and it's that authenticity and that inner confidence that he is who he is, and it just works. It works so well, and you can see it on all the different podcast and YouTube things that he's done. Be it the betting guy, the storage guy, and the motivation guy, and I'm sure there's others as well which I've missed. It's just himself. He's just himself, just talking about a slightly different topic. But the lessons are all there. That they're all there, and they're interrelatable across the industries.
He's a pro podcaster. I mean, what was he paid? Was it £50,000-60,000 for his betting podcast? He's now generated podcast Motivate Me, but that has become the Motivated Entrepreneur, which he's had like 10,000 downloads of, or subscribers, whatever, views, listeners. And he's just doing an amazing job. And he's so into self-discovery, self-learning. He invests so much of his time and money into online digital courses, going to conferences. Phenomenal. What an individual to have on our 50th episode to celebrate 50 episodes of the Business Lockdown. I mean, when you look, I mean, not just 26 to 50, but 1 to 50. When you look at the caliber of people and the difference of people that we've covered, I just love it. It's been phenomenal. Just incredible, really. I tell you, we did miss out. It was John and Jen Woodhall.
John and Jen over in Sweden. Yeah.
Well, there's apologies first to John and Jen, but that's a lovely way to sign off.
Yeah, absolutely.
No testament. If there's anyone out there thinking of doing a podcast or just starting a podcast, and we spoke a lot about just moving forward, getting it going. We interviewed John and Jen from the band We Ghost. And you'd think we'll be talking loads about music and about creativity. And actually, that was probably the smallest part of their episode. What we did speak about a lot was how Sweden have dealt with COVID-19 and politics. And we touched on Brexit and how the music industry, in terms of the political situation across Europe and the UK, is affected. And that was a really nice episode. Just lovely. I mean, very good friends of mine over the course of the year. I think it's getting close to 20 years that I've known those guys now. And it was following that, I covered a one-to-one with Jen on helping, giving them value on their marketing. I probably spent about 2.5 hours exploring their socials and website and how they're doing things. Then covered a one-to-one session, and they're just a month into that of taking those ideas and advice forward, and they've increased their Facebook followers by 100%. They've started a Facebook group, and they've just celebrated 500 new members. They're doing live feeds and reaching thousands of people. Jen has now she's invested into video editing software, so Premiere Pro, and she's now editing videos. She's now at a really good level. So she's just taken on all of this stuff, and it's just amazing to see. So episode 50, Dean Booty. But loved and not forgotten John and Jen Woodhall of We Ghost. So people, with that in mind, go and see We Ghost socials and web, and take a look at what they're now doing. They're, as many musicians, they're their own marketeers. Which is kind of the industry now, is that people have to not only be great musicians or DJs, entertainers, is that they have to be on point with their marketing. So those guys are absolutely flying. So that's been great to work with those. Just upskill and add value in return. So, So 50 episodes, mate. Are we going to get to 100? Of course we are.
Of course we are. Of course we are. We're going to get that ton. We're going to get that ton.
So I think it goes without saying, thank you to you, mate. It's been an incredible journey, one which we've learned so much from, and so many positives to come out of what essentially was a very tough time, with no shortage of challenges. But I think not just for the business lockdown, but for Pink as well and our team. So we've got to pay a huge amount of respect to the amount of hours that they put in and graft that they put into to supporting this and their level of expertise. We could not do this without them. It goes without saying. And we've all, our hashtag is stronger together, and we clearly are. We're all better at what we do and how we do it as individuals and as a team. I mean, that is an understatement. We've gone from great to phenomenal, in my opinion. We've gone to working great on projects to now pivoting and being leaders, certainly in our area of the UK for sure. There's no one doing it at this level. That goes without saying. So
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you to all our guests.
Yep. And to the community. Thank you.
And to the community. So yeah, as we said, stronger together. So thank you, everybody.
Happy 50th.
Happy 50th! Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Business Lockdown.
Please comment, like, share and subscribe to help build our global community.
We look forward to seeing you all soon.